Greetings, beloved. I'm Bishop R.G. Mason II, lead pastor of the Impact Church South. And I'd like to take this time to invite you to worship with us in our iChurch worship experience. Many people have been asking the question, what does the I stand for in iChurch? Well, I stands for Impact. That's who we are. But listen, Impact is not just a word. It's an acronym. It's not just a designation of who we are, but it's a description of what we are. We are innovative ministries productively addressing current times. And one of the ways we're addressing the current times is that we are bringing you prophetic services to minister to you right where you are. We told you many, many times before, when you come to the Impact Church, it's going to be an experience. So listen, I need you to get ready, sit back and wait. God's about to meet you at the very point of your need, and you're about to experience an impact. Well, that's enough of that. I tell you what, let's just go in and worship together. I'm going to go in physically. You're going to come in virtually. Grace and peace.
Haggai 2:6. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, yet once it is a little while, and I will shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry land. Somebody say a whole lot of shaking going on. And I will shake all the nations, and the desire of all nations shall come, and I will fill this house with glory, saith the Lord of hosts. The silver is mine. The gold is mine, saith the Lord of hosts. The glory, Lord have mercy, and y'all know we know how to call on some glory up in here. The glory of this latter house shall be greater than the former, saith, Lord have mercy, Lord of hosts. You keep on declaring some stuff. Saith the Lord of hosts. And in this place I will give peace, saith the Lord of hosts. For a few moments today, we're going to talk about help me clean up. Help me clean up. Studies show that self-help skills are very important because they're the beginning steps that formulate the walk that eventually becomes the run for this thing that we call life. In other words, self-help skills instill behaviors and involves activities that will eventually become the benchmark of one's independent system. Self-help such as self-feeding, you know, we teach our children how to feed themselves, and then we become able to feed ourselves. So self-feedings, and I think we've mastered that one. Hygiene and toileting, for some of us not so much, but some of us we did get the picture as it relates to that. Independent dressing and grooming. I ain't gonna say much about that. I just respect your expression. And lastly, there is a thing called cleaning That's a self-help skill that we teach, Jonah Dwayne, and that's going to be our refresher course for today, cleaning. Cleaning means simply, according to Webster, to be free from dirt, free from soil, stains, or foreign matter, if you would. Stats show that between 13 to 36 million people, they have some form or some way of cleanliness about themselves. It was Brandon and Gail's records and research that says that the financial worth of the cleaning industry in its conglomerate is at a whopping $78 billion. Back in 2015, the cleaning industry employed 3.5 million people. Not to mention the effects of COVID-19, the coronavirus, and not to mention the effects that it had on cleanliness and human phobias. I mean, we bought all the Lysol. We bought all the paper towels, toilet tissue. We bought it all. And so the first week in March of 2020 went down in history, stating that the cleaning product sales surge was nearly 400%. Can I tell you that one can never overstate the importance of cleanliness? It impacts every area of our lives. Hygiene is connected to cleanliness. Disease is connected to cleanliness. Our moods and our mood swings massively depends on how we clean and how clean our environment is, which is precisely why this self-help was taught, and this is why we're going to get a refresher course today. See, I grew up during a time when children were children. We knew what it meant to stay in a child's place. And we didn't have to worry, Mother Abner, about whether or not we were getting out of line, because if they thought we were getting out of line, it was always supplied a method or a remedy for us crossing the line. I'm just talking about how I grew up. I grew up with chores. We had to clean up without motivation. I think the millennial babies ushered in being begged to clean up. Clean up, clean up. Everybody, we cleaned up without motivation. And my grandchildren, you sing the song and ain't nothing coming off of the floor. Nowadays, you have a clean up song and still nothing is being done. But where I came from, we cleaned up without motivation. And our schedule at home kind of went like this. Monday through Friday, you made your bed and you did something to straighten up just to make sure everything was good. Wednesday, you had to put in a few loads of clothes because we didn't have gym clothes real for every day of the week. We had gym clothes maybe Monday through Wednesday, so we had to wash long about Wednesday to help us make it through I'm just talking about where I came from. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, but they made it happen for us. And so long about Wednesday, you put 2 or 3 sets of clothes in the washer, and then you wash midweek. And then Saturday, just when you thought you were getting up to eat some Cocoa Puffs and watch the TV and watch cartoons, or cartoons is what we call them, Erica, just that's when you thought you got a strap across your back because you thought you were going to get up, not make your bed and not clean. So you go and Gwen, hurry up and get that done and go back to the tube, and then something else come across your back, because that was the hard cleaning day. Hard cleaning days was on Saturday. You washing everything in the house. Baby ain't got on nothing but a pamper. Everything in the house gotta be washed, and you gotta iron for next week, and you gotta sweep, and you gotta mop, and you gotta dust. And Saturdays was the hard cleaning day. Just talking about where I came from, you know, that's all. And then once every year we performed a thorough cleaning known as spring cleaning. And the spring cleaning meant that everything had to be done. The windows, the walls, the light switches, baseboards, decluttering, throwing stuff away, organizing under the bed, turning the mattress, Lord have mercy, changing the curtains, changing the bed, and changing the furniture around, cleaning out the refrigerator, cleaning out the freezer. Now, I know you probably say, how in the world, where did y'all find time to get all of that done? I didn't find the time. My mama did. And she designated our spring break. It's called spring break, Sean. And she designated our spring break. We done already lost all of our Saturdays, Natalie, and now we can't have a break. We can't have spring break because it was time to spring clean. Although we really didn't like or care for spring cleaning, after all of that was done, there was a sense of wellness that spring brought. There was a sense of newness and openness and energy that spring brought. See, just like there are 4 seasons in the natural, there are 4 seasons in the spirit realm. There's summer, there's fall, there's winter, there's spring. There's seasons in our lives that are crucial, and it is imperative that we are well aware of them if we're going to embrace and lead more fulfilling lives. Summer is the season of enjoyment. It's the time of recreation and refreshing, a time of happiness. And during the summer seasons of your life, you should be living your best life. You ought to be reaping the benefits and rewards according to the positive change that you've made. Actually, truth be told, nobody should be experiencing winter in the summer seasons of your spiritual life. But oftentimes we experience these things because of the poor decisions that we've made, or we've missed opportunities, or we're living our lives outside of the season that God has set for us. You got autumn, you are or fall, whichever one y'all choose to call it. Fall is a time of harvest. This is generally a time of harvest from your springtime labor. This is the time you reap without apology. You got the winter season. We talked a little bit about that, but we are in spring. Fortunately for us, spring comes after winter. Spring is a season of activity. It's a season of opportunity. It is a fertile season in our life. New seeds, new growth. increased knowledge, new commitments, new determination, new birth. Everything is new. It's a time where we create new beginnings for ourselves and for our households. See, life is constantly recycling itself. And so we ought to shout when springtime comes. I think it was Genesis 8:22 that says, while the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, winter, summer, day and night shall not cease. And since it does not cease, then the challenge must be the balancing act. Day, night, good, evil, life, death, water, land, summer, winter, recession, expansion, joy, sorrow. You face many challenges and changes in your life, because as long as we are here, it's going to be winter. It's going to be spring. It's going to be summer. Neither it's going to be fall. Naturally, the season is spring. Spring marks the transition from winter into summer. Spring is the bridge from challenge and difficulty on the way to living and loving life, sweatless victory. The Bible talks about spring. Spring is a time when kings go off to war, because they go off to get the goods. They go off to get it and stake their claim. The Bible talks about Solomon. He said that spring is a time for romance. Spring, Solomon said spring is a time when signs of vigor and life returns in the spring. I am then persuaded that our atmospheres are budding with new leaves, new blossoms in every area of our lives. This is me. This is my belief. I believe that by the help of the Lord, that the spiritual and physical energy needed to break up fallow ground is here, and it's in our lives. Saturday, March the 20th, 2021, 5:37 a.m., the spring equinox began. Spring, and the ritual of spring is in full effect around us. Time to clean up, time to declutter, time to organize, especially after we've had such a treacherous winter. We've come now. Look around you on the news. Your city, your state, your local government is initiating cleaning and spring cleaning, picking up the trash and discarding it in its proper places. We have come to this place called spring because winter had stuffed us up, had made us immobile, had brought us to the place where there was some needless accumulation that had taken place because winter had worn us out. Some of us lost loved ones, some of us lost jobs, some of us lost family members and lost cars and houses and things due to the winter called Corona in our lives. And it took place in the midst of a people who I cannot deny these compounding effects of the previous season and the last season left us overwhelmed. Lord have mercy. We got to the place where we said we just can't take no more. What is going on? I'm talking about winter, and the last season tested our patience and tapped on our nerves. The last season had us worn out. We couldn't breathe. Took our breath away, and the heaviness in our chest, the heaviness in our bodies began to manifest itself in the spirit realm, and we began to be worn. I'm talking about the last season that tried to stagnate us and tried to weigh us down and chain our our feet to the ground until we couldn't move. I'm talking about the last season where the enemy came in and tried to disconnect us, and we had to lean and depend on a shepherd who had to figure out a way to keep us connected, who had to go on the live and figure it out, because the enemy came in and tried to tell us that social distancing was proper. I'm talking about the last season that leaves us agitated and leaves us so frustrated until we can't see a way out, and we really wonder if God has remembered us just like he said. Try to figure out if he remembered us just like he promised. I'm talking about the last season where we were non-productive, living in a fertile land, trying to breathe off a fertile word, and couldn't get no happiness, couldn't make it turn, calling folk on the phone, wanting us to be put on, girl, put me on, and everything was non-productive. Talking about the last season. The post-exilic prophecy of Haggai is considered to be one of the gems of the Old Testament. It's recognized for its reverence and priorities during a turbulent period. The Jews now are returning to their home after being in captivity by the Babylonians and the Persians, and to them these times were dark times. To them these times were discouraging. To them these times were seemingly dysfunctional. I mean, they literally had to go back and try to pick up the pieces and rebuild their lives after being gone, Kenny, from their homeland for 50 years. 50 years. I'm going back and I'm looking at the rubble and I'm trying to figure it out. And they were now perusing the land, and the land had to be cleared, and they tried to go through it. Houses had to be rebuilt, had to figure out what could be salvaged. Maybe I could use this brick on my deal near my house. Maybe I can use this money on that bill. Maybe I can use this money over here on that car. They had to figure it out. The customs and traditions were gone because they are struggling now trying to keep up and sing a song in a way in Babylonian captivity. So now they have to ignite the traditions and the customs again. So now we got to try to figure out, in the midst of this pandemic, in the midst of coronavirus, how is it that we are going to keep the message of Jesus Christ going? How is it, trying to figure out and reestablish, encouraging the saints and reminding the saints of the hope to hold on to God's hand. Lord have mercy. 50 years of rubble, 50 years just gone, and I'm standing in the midst of the land trying to figure out how I'm gonna make something out of nothing. Lord, you gotta cut this, and you gotta move this, and you gotta get rid of that, and it's the work. It's called spring cleaning. Spring cleaning. So while they were building the homes, Haggai lit a fire under them, because they got to the place where, no, we can't do this. Do you know what our church looked like? Solomon had us a house. Solomon had us an edifice. What we gonna do with this? And so Haggai began to light a fire up under them to breathe a message of hope for them to rebuild the temple. And just like many of us, we have been overwhelmed by what we see and what others have said. Lord have mercy. I said something right there. We have been overwhelmed by what we saw and what others have said. Let me pull over right here. Now, I ain't going to put the car in park. I ain't going to do that, but I'm going to keep my foot on the brake because I got automatic start and stop. Persuasion is a superpower. And with this superpower, it's the psychologist Robert Levine who said that everybody is susceptible to persuasion. It's the power of persuasion that convinced you to buy that dress off Instagram. It's the power of persuasion that made you go to the drive-thru and get that food because you saw somebody else post that it was good. It's the power of persuasion that's made you see that your house was right in front of you. So I believe, like Dr. Levine said, we are persuadable. So in this season, you gotta guard your words, you gotta guard your pictures, because they can offer you some incisive things to make you take another mindset. And God has an ultimate goal for you in mind, but you gotta guard what you see and what everybody else said. Lord have mercy. Oh Lord, I think it was Elijah who never encountered Jezebel. Jezebel sent the word to him and told him by this time tomorrow. It was what she said, and the weight of what she said made him see that he was getting ready to die. So in this season, right before I take my foot off the brake, you gotta guard what you see, and you gotta guard what other folk is saying. It's my phone and I pay my own bill, so ain't no sense in you getting frustrated because I don't answer. I can't take you today because you ain't speaking my language. I can't take you today because I got something on the line. I can't take you today because I'm working on something and I'm getting something. Lord, John Wayne, hold that thing. It takes a toll on our positive persuasion when it is that negativity enters the conversation. You see people who get diagnosed with cancer, and the next thing you know, 2 hours later they dead, because it takes a toll on our positive persuasion when negativity enters. Lord have mercy. Rob, I'm finna get out of here. It takes a toll on positive persuasion. You see it all the time. People get divorced, and then the next thing you know, everybody low down and dead, and I don't do it, I don't, because it takes a toll on your positive persuasion to be surrounded by negativity. And all them girls that you invited to that divorce party, they miserable. All them girls that were sitting up there eating that divorce cake with you, they miserable. They ain't got nothing, and they want to ensure that you never. I don't care. Pull up. Pull up. And so it is now. It takes a toll when our positive persuasion is trying to live through what God is saying in this season, and disaster comes, or negativity surrounds disaster. Okay. John Dwayne, I'm finna get out of here. So the people were having to rebuild after 50 years. And that can be disheartening, because thinking about what you lost, thinking about the time that lapsed, thinking about all of that, that can be disheartening, El. And so Haggai gets up in there, and he reminded the saints of the hope, and he began to speak on behalf of God. In verse 6, he said, yet once, it is a little while, I will shake the heavens. I will shake the earth. I'm going to shake the sea. I'm going to shake the dry land. Now you got to look at it now. I don't want y'all to catch the cow by the tail and run up out of here without knowing that shaking in the Hebrew means that there's going to be different types of energy that's going to be generated in this season. But don't you worry and don't you fret. He is doing the shaking. Shake in the Hebrew means to quake, which simply means that everything is going to be happening. But that's all right, because God in this season is going to take the bad, hook it up with the good, and He's going to make something good out of it. I think it was Sean Pace Rose who said that if I was in control of my life, I'd work it out differently. Give me some wind, Lord. I'm trying, Sean, to get out of here. But the Bible says, yet once and a little while, I'm going to shake, and whenever an earthquake happens, they have what they call the P waves and the S waves. The P waves brings compression. The P waves brings the squeezing. The P waves brings the pushing. The P waves brings the pulling. And the S waves comes on the scene ladder. And the S waves can only work through the rock. Now can I tell y'all that means something? I feel something right in through there. The S waves can only move through the rock. You in a hard place. Your back is up against the wall. But keep in your mind, God is doing the shaking. Now the S waves, they gotta go through the rock. Their electric marches up and down. And it is now that it goes up and down to bust up the rock. Shebokora. I just felt something weird. God is busting up everything that hindered me in this season. God is busting up so I can get my healing. God is busting up so I can get my deliverance. Somebody, anybody, everybody, give God glory. Somebody, anybody, everybody, give God glory. I gotta leave you, like Rail said, in the hands of the Lord. But before I go, I gotta tell y'all, look at the text. Every word from verse 6 all the way to 9. The Lord declared it from the voice of being the Lord of hosts. Lord have mercy. The Lord of hosts simply meant that He's coming in a supernatural present power to provide security, power, and strength. Security, power, and strength. Y'all gotta look at it. Anytime the Lord of hosts steps on on the scene, aka Lord of the armies. When that voice begins to speak, you already know he's showing up for war and to make sure that you don't leave without what he spoke over your life.
Wow, wasn't that an experience? Didn't I tell you? I thought I told you. I should have told you that every time you come to the Impact Church, you're going to experience what we have coined as the 3 R's. Yes, our services are rated R. It's real, it is relevant, and it is raw. Well, listen, beloved, we thank God that you chose to worship with us on today. We look forward to worshiping with you again very soon at the same time, at the same channel, but it won't be the same experience, we promise you. Thank you so much. Grace and peace.